Yeah, we're gonna kick off. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Where are we gonna go first? We're gonna start in Mammoth Lakes. Boom, hopefully you can all see my screen there. Cool, so we're gonna start in Mammoth. So Mammoth is one of my favorite places in California. It's located on what I would probably refer to as the backbone of California. It's the spine where the Sierra Nevada range basically starts down. You've got some of the big mountains like Mount Whitney, and it's kind of where the desert and the mountains clash together and the mountains kind of rise up. Mammoth Lakes is this really little town that people drive past on the 395, and it's something spectacular about it. It's sometimes hard to describe, and it's funny, a few people I've spoken to, when they've gone there, they're like, oh my gosh, this place is incredible, and I can't quite put my finger on why, but I quite understand it. But just to give you a bit of an insight whereabouts it is. So Mammoth is, like I said, on kind of the backbone. So there's a few different ways to get to Mammoth. My map's kind of clearing. So Mammoth is kind of just here. Mammoth kind of sits in between San Francisco and Los Angeles and Las Vegas, that kind of flanks between the triangles. Geographically, looking at it on a map, you'd think San Francisco is your closest point to get to. In summer, that would be correct. You'd use, from San Francisco, you'd cut through Yosemite National Park up over Tioga Pass, and then into Mammoth, which sits on the back side of Yosemite, or the West Gate. Los Angeles is probably the most popular route, and a lot of people look at it and go, that looks really far, but it's actually about the same amount of time. And the reason being is that LA has basically a straight highway that goes straight out of LA, and you basically take it straight on. So it's really quick and easy. So while geographically it looks closer from San Francisco, it's actually quicker from Los Angeles, just from a driving perspective, because the roads are basically long, straight, and you can drive fast. San Francisco, a lot more windy, up and over mountain passes. So I tend to recommend coming in from Los Angeles. The drive from Los Angeles is incredible too. It's kind of, you come through obviously the big mecca of LA, then you come out onto the desert plains, and then you start to see the mountains rise up as you're going along, and and you join the Highway 395. So it's quite a spectacular little road there. I put Las Vegas on there too, because it's actually quite a popular destination. People are in Las Vegas. I always say Las Vegas is like a bit of a hidden California. It's kind of like an unofficial California city, sat in Nevada, but most people will add Vegas onto a California road trip. So from Vegas, you're kind of heading through to San Francisco, and you're probably going to go via Yosemite National Park. So you have to go past Mammoth. So it makes a really nice stop. It's about 5 hours from Vegas. It's about 6 hours from LA, and about 5 hours from San Francisco. However, in the winter time, the Tioga Pass is closed. So actually, to get to Mammoth from San Francisco, you actually have to drive up to Tahoe and basically come down to avoid all the big mountain passes. So that's why we always say LA. Other nice, unique thing is Mammoth has its own airport. And what's nice, it has daily flights with United from LA into Mammoth. You can also fly, there's a regional company called Jet Suite X. I've got a little picture just down here. No, I don't. I've got but Jet Suite X is semi-private, and that flies out of Burbank, Orange County, and San Diego as well. So they fly up in the winter time to give you a bit of a private jet experience. They have 30 seats in the plane, but the tickets are about $100. So nice little kind of fun thing to do if you want to do that. But that's kind of where Mammoth is. Mammoth is a big mountain, so it's full of seasons. I have a video, but I'm not going to play the video. It's quite a long video, but once we finish here, feel free to jump back into the programs. All the modules that I'm looking at currently are now live, so you can go in and look at the videos. The video that's really cool with Mammoth, I'll just show you the intro, but this is going to work. It's going to work. Technology. But the video is a 360 video, so nope, internet's having a moment.
We promise it worked in the dress rehearsal. We promise.
Yeah, but it always happens to me whenever I do this. but the videos are 360 videos, so it's a video of it, whilst you're watching the video, you can actually grab your mouse and move around and see. So the video is about 3 minutes long, which is why I'm not going to play it, but you can go and look around. But Mammoth Lakes, it's just an all year, it's an all season destination. So summer, winter. So in the winter months, it's a huge ski resort. It's one of the best and biggest ski resorts in North America. It's a weird mountain though, because it's really wide versus long. So for the ski people, most people know that it's all that vertical. Mammoth actually ski kind of across the mountain versus straight up and down. Skiing across is really good because it means that you get really nice long runs. It's also a mountain for those skiers that are with us, that basically covers every single skier. So if you're advanced, you want to throw yourself off a cliff, you can do that in Mammoth. If you've never skied in your life, great place to learn. All the schools happen kind of mid mountain, so you kind of get on that chairlift and you kind of get up to mid mountain to learn how to ski. So you feel like you're up on the mountain and in with everyone. And then if you just want to cruise around the mountain, you can do that too. It's home as well in winter to the US Olympic freestyle team. So the skiers and snowboarders all train there for half pipe and freestyle. So that's really nice. It's a really nice fun activity for those that want to kind of ride terrain parks. It's got some of the best in the world. In summer, it completely flips on its head. So all the snow starts to melt. The other thing I should say about winter is it has a really long season. So it usually starts snowing around about November time, and the season will run through. At the moment, this year we'll probably have snow until June. Currently can't ski, but because everything's shut down. But yeah, we're gonna have, and that tends to be a typical season. Last year we skied all the way through to August, so it depends how big the snow year is. But yeah, plenty of snow there. It's also at high elevation as well, so it does sit at 2,800 meters, and that's why we also often refer to it as the top of California, because it's a place that you can access it from the top. Like I was saying, in the summer, completely flips on its head in the summer. Summer's all about the outdoors, hiking, biking. It also sits on the back of, kind of butts up to Yosemite National Park. So from the top of the mountain, you can see up into Yosemite National Park. You can see out into the plains of Nevada as well. So it's quite unique. Mammoth Lakes also gets its name from the lakes basin. So it's plenty of lakes and hot springs. So the actual mountain itself is a dormant volcano. Still has some vents that you can see that happen on the mountain. So you can, so all the lakes, they have a lot of hot springs, so it's great to go and just see it, relax in a hot spring. Summertime, it's all about biking, hiking, just yeah, outdoor adventure. That's really good. Mammoth also got some pretty fun nightlife. It has the highest brewery on the West Coast. So in the town there, they have their own brewery, Mammoth Brewing Company, and they do really good beer. For the non-beer drinkers, you're kind of out of luck, unfortunately. They really only do beer. They do some amazing food there as well, but there's some good bars. One of my insider tips, if you're ever there and looking for a bit of a nice place to go for an après drink or a late night drink, the Clock Tower, which is one of the hotel's basement bars. It's a real dive bar, but it's full of locals. It's going to be authentic, and it's always a good time at that bar. Mammoth has a range of accommodation. I'm just going to quickly look at a few of the accommodation options, but we have, it's not necessarily your 5-star, it's a mountain town and it's really laid back, but the Western, which is this property here, that's our kind of 4-star or our kind of nicer property. Then we have the Village at Mammoth. The Village is going to be 1, 2, and 3 bedroom residence or units, full kitchens. We have the Mammoth Mountain Inn. This is a ski in, ski out property or a property that's right at the top. So for those keen hikers, it's a really good property. It's 3-star, it's pretty basic, but it's always a fun time. And then we've got kind of Juniper Springs. One of the unique properties that we have here is Tamarack Lodge. Tamarack is this property here. Tamarack are standalone cabins. They don't have TVs in them, and they sit kind of just outside of town. So they're really cool in the summer months. They sit on a lake as well. So you kind of have your own little one, two or three bedroom cottage out in the, you'll have bears potentially walk past. So there's it's quite nice and unique, and it's a really kind of be with nature. So highly recommend. Again, connected to all properties should be connected with all the major receptives like Bonatel, etc. Mammoth makes a good base as well if you want to go into Yosemite National Park. So it's 45 minutes. It's 45 minutes from Yosemite from Mammoth into Yosemite National Park. So there's lots to do, but there's lots around the area as well, and so that's why it makes it a good base. You can see this picture here for sightseeing. This is Mono Lake, and Mono Lake is right where you'll take the turn to go into Yosemite National Park. The Mono Lake is this big salt lake, and it has these pillars. If you can see on the kind of on the side bit, these pillars are what we call tufas, and they're salt pillars that grow out of the water, out of the salty sea. But it's really bizarre because you've got this plain flat lake that's kind of smashed up against the mountains. We've kind of covered skiing and snowboarding. There's tons of hiking, waterfalls, lots of bike trails. So there's everything from keen avid mountain bikers. If you want to throw yourself down the ski mountain, got the best downhill mountain bike park in the US, second to Whistler, so second in North America. But we have lots of loop trails, so great for family rides, just to kind of ride through the basins. And we're big for fishing as well, love a bit of fly fishing. But it is an all-round destination. I kind of briefly talked about Yosemite, and we're going to kind of segue our way into Yosemite now, and I'll let Adam talk a bit about Yosemite. But one thing that you can do being based in Mammoth is you have access to the YART, the Yosemite Area Rapid Transit System. That's the public bus that goes into and around Yosemite National Park. It actually has a stop in Mammoth Lakes. So you can hop on the bus in Mammoth, take the bus, leave the car in Mammoth, take the bus up into Yosemite in the summer months, and then that will drop you off at the valley floor. The nice thing with that, from a pricing perspective, it's pretty reasonable. I think it's about $12, and that includes your entrance into the park as well. So it's quite a nice 3 pickups in the morning, 3 drop-offs in the late afternoon. So nice, easy one for clients that don't necessarily want to drive. Parking in the valley floor can be tricky at times. But Adam, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Yosemite?
Sure, and we're going to attempt something that we did practice again, but we're going to try and swap screen shares. So fingers crossed this all works. So
if anyone's got any questions, just like hit them out at us too. I'll try and answer them as I go along.
There we go. Okay, fantastic. So just to give a bit of background again, I know Brendan slightly covered it at the beginning, but we're completing some courses for our clients as Black Diamond. So when you do come back into the program again or sign in, all these courses should start to become active over the next couple of weeks. So as you can see, there's some really great some really great ones coming, and we'll be completing webinars and letting you know. So do keep coming back. So I'm going to take you through Yosemite Mariposa now, and yeah, this is just an introduction. I know a lot of you will have already been to Yosemite or know quite a bit about it. So hopefully I can cover off some for the beginners that maybe haven't been there before, but also maybe a couple of nuggets for those that are experts that we can sort of help with. But as Brendan says, do feel free to put some notes in, to put some things in the chat, and hopefully we can answer some of the questions at the end or as we go. So I am also going to try and play a video, and hopefully I have more success than Brendan. Let's see what happens. Well, apparently the volume wasn't quite working, but you get the idea. So Yosemite, oh, that's what I watch. Sorry, probably get a nice view of various sporting things. So look, I just want to take you through a few bits about Yosemite National Park and how it sits. So it's the area itself is divided into 3 counties. In the north here, we have Tuolumne. Mariposa sits sort of here. And then in the south, you're looking at Madera County. And that's sort of how it's sort of all put together. And what's quite lovely about this is they all sort of work together. So, you know, if you're struggling to get availability at places within the valley or a little bit further out, you know, Tuolumne and Madera are very well, and suppose, and Mammoth, like Brendan was talking about, are very well connected with the Yacht system. And also they work very, very closely together. I'm going to take you through a few bits today, and I suppose the highlights really. So you can see them here as Half Dome near number 25 is one of the key areas, and as well with Glacier Point and the Badger Pass ski area as well. So we, oh, sorry, I'm opening various things now that I shouldn't be. Oh, sorry. Oh.
That technical difficulty life, right?
Brendan, I tell you what, would you bring up the Yosemite post for me? I don't know what's quite gone on there. The Yosemite module, and I'll just talk through it. Sorry about this, everybody.
Coming at you, just a second.
Promise we practice this. I've gone all red now. And I'll use this time to apologize for not having a California background. I did, however, buy a plant, so to make it slightly look like it's not my kitchen.
Right,
Thanks.
we on?
Yes, if you could go to the Half Dome image, that would be great.
I can. There we go.
Fantastic. So just one thing I forgot to mention was just as a region, I suppose it became famous in the 1840s with a massive gold rush. So within the towns in the area, there's a great sort of community spirit, and everything's sort of what's the word? Sort of like still cowboy-esque. There's various gold rush activities that people can do that's sort of away from the parks. That was one thing that I didn't mention. But in terms of Half Dome, Yosemite is an amazing, unbelievable, picturesque place to go. Whether it's, you know, whether people want hiking or whether just to explore this really magical place, but Half Dome itself is a real hike. For those that have done it, it's a lot of work. It'll take about 10 to 12 hours to hike, and what we sort of say to clients, it's a good thing to get an early start. So get on that early yacht, or get into the park very early. And one thing you can let your clients know as well, if they haven't reached the top by about 3:30, it's probably best that they turn around. Then otherwise they're going to end up getting stuck. But some of the views from up there are absolutely amazing. And then in Yosemite Falls, so Yosemite Falls is the highest waterfall in Yosemite National Park. It's best to visit there in spring when the snow melts from the winter. That's when, you know, it's really quite picturesque. And the Awachini people called the waterfall Choluk, the fall, and the plunge pool is said that its base was inhabited by spirits of several witches. So again, it's quite a spiritual place to go and visit. But again, as you see from that picture, just so picturesque and amazing to see. And then to a slightly smaller waterfall, Vernal Fall it's only 317 feet, so it's a lot smaller, but it's clearly visible from Glacier Point. And this is only a 2 or 3 hour hike. So it's a lot easier for people to go. And when I say hike, I mean from the moment that they enter the park. And it's a place that actually you can go swimming in the summer as well in the park.
That's one of my favorite hikes, actually, the Mist Trail up those steps, and it's really easy to do as well. I just got to throw my 3 cents in there. Yeah,
definitely,
I absolutely loved
definitely,
it.
and it's something that's worth worth saying. Is there's definitely something for every sort of fitness level, as you were. So if some clients they want to see something picturesque, they're not big hikers, this is perfect. Whereas those that like outdoor exercise, want to go get lost, don't want to see anybody else, then definitely go hike up Half Dome. Go to the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, Brendan's already covered the yachts and said why these are really, really good. But they're really handy, especially in the summer when things are a bit busier and car parking's hard to come by. Definitely worth suggesting to your clients that they do this. From wherever they are, there will definitely be a yacht station nearby, especially in Mariposa County, but also in the surrounding areas as well. They're really friendly. Timetables are very, very easily accessible. And again, it's something that the clients will really thank you for when they don't have to queue for ages to get a car parking space. And then we have El Capitan. No, we don't.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I went too fast.
That's all right. So El Capitan. So some of you may have seen Free Solo, where someone actually free climbed the granite face. And it's something you could actually reach out to your clients and let them know that it's on Disney Plus as well. It's called Free Solo. And it's all about Yosemite National Park, about the climb. And I mean, I don't want to ruin the ending for you, but it's a successful climb. But yeah, something that you could definitely send out to your clients, and it's iconic. It's 3 times as high as the tip of the Eiffel Tower, and it can be seen from miles and miles around. So yeah, so let's go on to the next one. Okay. Yes, I just wanted to cover off a couple of the accommodation options. Obviously, there is varying accommodations from campsites to caravans to RVs to Airbnb type properties. So I've just picked out a couple of the hotels just to talk you through and give you an idea. And I'll come back to the map again and sort of finishing it off. But Tenaya Lodge is a really, really great property. It's near the south entrance. It's got various dining options from casual to formal. What's really good as well, in the summer they do really cool outdoor pizza film nights, and then they've also got an on-site deli for buying bits for a picnic in the park as well. So that has something for everyone. And then the Awani Hotel, which you might know as the Majestic. Brendan, have you stayed here?
I haven't actually stayed there, but I have. I've been there a few times, had lunch there.
Yeah, they've. It's said to be one of the mazes there was based on The Shining.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it's just one of these amazing properties. And if you look at the sort of, you can sort of slightly see in the background, like the amazing sort of backdrops and the views you get from there. And this is for people staying inside the park as well. So it's really, really up to clients' budgets, I suppose, and what they like. But staying in the park is definitely worth it if you can get them to do that.
It's pretty insane.
And then just a quick, finally on this one, just to sort of show you where everything is here. So 20, 24 and 25 and 26 are the properties sort of within the park. The rest of them here on the outside are sort of on the periphery, but again, very, very close and very, very easy to access the park from there. And then if you go to the next, not image, the next module, please, or the next lesson.
Oh, winter, yeah.
So Brendan's already covered a lot of the sort of winter sports and things like that in Mammoth, but just across the other side here is Badger Pass. So it is the oldest ski area in California, and is great for skiers, for cross country skiers, for any kind of winter sports, for the whole family, and not necessarily just adults. They do have some great activities for kids as well. And then, as you see around the Christmas time, it does get very festive and very community based, and they're normally doing a load of events. And as you can see here, is this Santa sleigh ride that they can do for the kids, and then at the end of it, they get hot cider and chocolate. And then sort of set in the foot in the sort of valley as well, you can sort of see Half Dome in the background, this amazing ice rink that gets set up every year in winter. Again, just very picturesque and a perfect spot to enjoy winter in Yosemite. And then lastly, again, just to show off some of the trails and the hikes. It's a year-round destination, so winter as well as summer, you get some of these amazing walks and hikes, and they're even accessible even with the snow. So that's a bit of an introduction into Mariposa and Yosemite. This is going to be updated over the next few days. So if you if you want to take a look back next week, there'll be some more information about the accommodations. We're going to start to add more and more to this as well. So I think I'm going to hand back to Brendan now, and I'll start to compile some of these questions that you guys have been asking.
I've just had a look through some of the questions. There's been some great ones. So I'll quickly grab a couple before we finish with Tahoe. First off, Lee, I'm jealous of your sunbathing. Glad it's sunny in the north. Michael asked a good stopover between LA and Mammoth. There's a few options, but there's not a great deal of options, if that makes sense. So I tend to recommend a few little towns. There's Lone Pine, which is kind of a quaint little town. There's Ridgecrest if you're wanting something a little bit bigger. Ridgecrest is going to be more your flag hotels. Lone Pine, Bishop, or probably Lone Pine or Bishop would be my two. The only thing I would say though, if you do get to Bishop, you might as well push on up the hill, because once you get to Bishop, you're about 35 minutes, 40 minutes from Mammoth. So you might as well just push straight up the pass to into Mammoth. What I tend to recommend though is if you're coming from Vegas, you come through Death Valley, and I know Tom mentioned that he'd done it through Death Valley, which is it's such a stunning drive because of the scenery, the way it changes. But also you could stop. But I tend to say try and get it done in a day. It's a long drive, but do some stops along the way. Lone Pine also has a great lunch spot called Copper Top Barbecue or dinner. And that does some incredible barbecue food for those that like barbecue. There's another little inside tip on that. And Gareth had said he'd heard that surf and ski with LA and Mammoth is a good idea. I did that last year. It was absolutely incredible. A lot of fun. The nice thing with Jet Suite X as well, you could go surfing in Huntington Beach, hop on the flight, which is from John Wayne Airport, Orange County Airport, which is about 15-20 minutes from the airport, and it will take you straight into Mammoth. The nice thing with Jet Suite X, you only have to be there 30 minutes before the flight departs, so you can literally cut it fine, like I usually do. Got some more questions coming in, but I'll get them in a second. I'm going to just jump straight across to Tahoe. Lake Tahoe, again, another stunning, highest alpine lake in North America. It's the second deepest, one of the deepest lakes, second biggest lake in the US. Crater Lake is bigger than us up in Oregon, but we're also at pretty high altitude again. The water in Tahoe is why most people go, and what one of its kind of draws is just crystal blue. They have a real big campaign there about keeping Tahoe blue. But we'll start in the north, we'll work our way south. Tahoe is basically made up of mountain towns all the way around it. I'm going to try and show this video because this video is really cool. Let's see how we go. So that is Tahoe in a nutshell. It is absolutely stunning. It's absolutely beautiful, and I hope that video did it some form of justice. I love Lake Tahoe. It's just, yeah, it's beautiful. One thing I'll say about Tahoe, it tends to get missed quite a lot on itineraries, because most people do a classic California itinerary into San Francisco. They'll come out to Yosemite and then they'll kind of head down south, which is quite a popular itinerary. And what it does, it misses Tahoe. But Tahoe, I highly recommend to push to push a little bit further north to visit. In terms of where it's located, so you're about 3 hours from San Francisco. It's a pretty clear-cut drive. So from San Francisco Airport, you basically come straight out onto the freeway. You've got a couple of different options. You can either go over the Bay Bridge or the San Mateo Bridge to get across the bay, and then you just hop on I-80. So to get to North Lake Tahoe, you basically take I-80, which runs from San Francisco basically straight into Truckee, and Truckee's kind of the first town in North Lake Tahoe. So if I kind of zoom in on my map here, I'm just gonna drop this down a little bit. So we're about an hour and a half from Sacramento. You can fly into Reno. So this little airport just up here, Reno International, that's about 45 minutes from the north side of the lake, which is the top side here, and about an hour to the south of the lake. But good little options. United Airlines, again, American Airlines, both great airlines to fly. You can connect generally through San Francisco if you're using United. If you're using American, you're going to connect usually via Chicago or Dallas, but you can fly straight into Reno and then not have to worry about the bay traffic. But it's definitely, it's an easy drive. And it's definitely a car city. If you say are going there in the winter, you don't want to drive, Reno is a great place to fly into, and then you can use the shuttles. So South Lake Tahoe Express and North Lake Tahoe Express, pretty easy to remember shuttle companies, but these guys will help get you into your accommodation, and it's pretty cost effective to do that. We're going to start up in the north, work our way south. The reason I split them between north and south is because they're actually very different. The north, as we're going to find out, north is made up of little towns. So North Lake Tahoe is kind of what we call the region. It's made up of Squaw Valley, or the mountains, so Squaw Valley, Alpine Meadows, North Star are kind of the key mountain resorts. And then we've got Incline Village, we've got Kings Beach, Tahoe City, which are more the kind of lake communities. So they're kind of the key. And then we've got the West Shore, sorry, as well. The West Shore is a bit more of the hidden gem, just kind of halfway down. West Shore kind of sits about halfway down, so you can see my down there. But North Lake Tahoe, spectacular. So again, it's quite similar to Mammoth. It's a 4-season experience, and that video kind of showcased that as well, which is the lake is an alpine lake, so the lake is cold all year round. I get that question asked a lot: is the water cold? Yeah, it's freezing, but it's refreshing to jump into at times. But for the lake life, water ski, paddle board, you might have seen the kayaks that were clear. That's a new attraction or new supplier that we've had come into Tahoe over the last year or two, doing clear or full clear kayaks. So you can actually see for miles below you, and they're pretty special, especially if you're going through places like Sand Harbor up by Incline Village, which is where you'll see the kind of famous rocks, similar to the ones on my screen at the moment. You'll kind of paddle over them. And they're actually quite deep, but they don't look that deep with those clear bottoms. In winter, again, it becomes a huge ski and snowboard mecca. North Lake Tahoe has 9 ski resorts around it. Squaw Alpine Meadows is the most famous, and that picture on the first wheel there is a picture from the top of Squaw. We also have Alpine Meadows, and this is actually a picture from Diamond Peak, which is one of the mountains on the Nevada side. And then we also have North Star as well. Again, what's the attraction for the ski guys? It's the beautiful views over the lake. It's just pretty spectacular. In summer,
Brendan, one of the questions we've got here: if you could only ski one hill in Tahoe, which one would you choose and why?
Ooh, Oh, that's a very, very, very good question. Personally, I would ski Squaw Valley in Tahoe, or Squaw Alpine. I find that the terrain's quite varied. It still gives you spectacular views, but it's a little bit more varied terrain. Heavenly's maybe a little bit bigger, and we'll talk about that in a second, but in a bit. But yeah, I think it's a good local vibe as well. I think in Squaw Valley as well. Yeah, hope that answers that question. It's a really difficult question, to be honest. Obviously on the water, wakeboarding, water skiing, paragliding, kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding. Obviously we talked about the glass bottom kayaks, but you get such beautiful views. Tahoe is all about hiking. Again, these are full outdoor adventure places, but they're really good with the families too. And then is also nice, especially the North Lake has beautiful beaches. And I tend to find North Lake maybe a little bit better for your families, just as it's a little bit more slower pace in the north. It's also, there's tons of activities to do, nice easy hikes to do, obviously sit on the beach, etc. And then we have tons of events up in North Lake as well. This picture I've got, hopefully you can see on my screen, is a picture of the Wanderlust Festival, and that's a huge yoga festival that happens every July, and that's taken at the top of Squaw Valley. Big fireworks shows, and we also have Winter Wandergrass, which is a big bluegrass festival that happens at the end of the ski season, which is quite a lot of fun and brings a lot of the local craft breweries together. North Lake varies in accommodation, so for anyone that's selling luxury property, you've got the Ritz-Carlton Lake Tahoe, excuse me, up in North Star. You've also got the Hyatt Regency. Hyatt Regency is probably the most popular hotel for the UK market, and that sits effectively lakefront. And so this is kind of the picture here. What's quite unique about that as well, they have lakefront cottages. So anyone that wants to stay in like a 2 or 3 bedroom cottage, they sit down by the lake, so you can literally open your door, you're basically on the beach, and that's quite unique. There's not really any other properties in Tahoe that offer that. For those that want to stay in the mountains, Squaw has a ton of lodging, Village at Squaw Resort, Squaw Creek, Squaw Valley Lodge. And then if you want to be a bit more closer to the lake, the mountains are about a 25 minutes drive from the lake, so they're kind of set back. But then if you want something that's kind of more lakefront, you've got Base Camp Hotel and Grand Labarcan, and Sunnyside. Sunnyside, quite nice again because it's quite pretty much on the lake. Grand Labarcan's a good kind of big resort, and again great for families. That sits in Tahoe City, as is Base Camp. Base Camp feels a little bit more kind of like budget travelers that want like a nice hotel room. That's kind of North Lake Tahoe in a nutshell. Just a couple of my insider tips for North Lake Tahoe before we finish up with the south. The West Shore, so there's a ski resort up there called Homewood. They only have about 3 or 4 chairlifts, so it's a day pass, but really fun mountain, and that's where you feel like you're actually going to ski into the lake. Also there, that's where you'll find Sunnyside Resort, but you'll also find the West Shore Cafe, and the West Shore Cafe is my little hidden gem in Tahoe completely. It is a hotel. It only has 4 rooms, so they don't really sell their rooms, but they do a beautiful lunch that you sit out, especially in the summer, on a deck over the lake. So it's just an absolutely stunning hotel. And then finally, I'm going to head south. If you were to drive all the way around the lake, it'd take you an hour, a couple of hours. You want to stop at different viewpoints along the way. It's quite a big lake, and you get there, it's hard to kind of look at it from and see it from a picture point of view. But again, South Lake Tahoe, and again, jump in. I've got another video on South Lake Tahoe. Again, I'm not going to show you this. It's about 4 minutes, this one, but because we've kind of seen what it looks like. But again, South Lake Tahoe is the name of the town, South Lake Tahoe, so it tends to get the most amount of traffic. Again, just like the north, it straddles the California-Nevada border. Not sure if I mentioned that yet, but they straddle the California-Nevada border. What's quite unique is California is very much relaxed, chilled. everything's kind of built low rise. We don't build high rise in California. Everything's kind of no more than 6, 7 stories above. You move across to Nevada, and you've got the towering casinos. You literally have, in South Lake, you have State Street, and State Street, you cross the street and then you can do whatever you want, and literally whatever you want. You can drink and party till 24 hours. All the bars are open, all the casinos are open. Coming to California, we shut everything down about 1 o'clock. So what tends to happen if you're on a night out in South Lake, all the bars in California shut down, then everyone stumbles out, and then they all go, we're going to Nevada, and they walk across the street and into the casino hotels. It's quite a fun sight to watch, even if you're not joining them, just to watch all the plethora of people headed that way. South Lake Tahoe is famous for Heavenly, which is a ski resort. Again, kind of one of the big ski resorts. And what's unique about that ski resort is you actually ski in California and Nevada as well. So you ski across the state line. So it's quite fun. Like the North, you have plenty of activities to do. You've got, again, I've got a nice picture here of these clear bottom kayaks and kind of what they look like. You water ski, wakeboard, paraglide, sail. There's lots of cruises to be had up there. The skiing in Heavenly is pretty spectacular because they give you this pretty cool view. This is picture here is just of the skiing off the top, and most of the runs will look like that. What's unique as well is if you go right to the top of Heavenly, you're looking down at the lake. If you look 180 degrees behind you, you're looking at the Nevada desert, and so you just see one side is this spectacular mountain range, turn around and you see a completely pan flat desert with mountains looming in the distance. It's quite a really unique visual experience. Good terrain parts, etc. Good for beginners actually. Heavenly, so if it's more kind of beginner skiing or people that just want to cruise around skiing, then Heavenly is probably a better option over Squaw Valley. Hiking, you can hike up to the top of the mountain. There's tons of hiking to be done. And what's quite nice and unique about South Lake Tahoe is the town. So everything kind of happens in and out of that. I kind of mentioned the nightlife before. Nevada doesn't sleep, so South Lake Tahoe doesn't sleep. Also, they kind of keep going. There is a ton of stuff to get yourself in trouble there. One thing I really like about Tahoe is the Edgewood, which has its spectacular golf course. This is where a lot of the great PGA golfers have played, and it literally you play along the lake. And it's quite unique. And a new attraction that we got in South Lake about 2 years ago is a company called Sky Combat Ace. So we have a small little airfield in South Lake Tahoe, and these are fighter pilots, and they will basically take you for a fighter pilot thrill experience over the lake, doing loops, flips, etc. Yeah, it's definitely adrenaline filled. We had a fam group. I unfortunately wasn't on that group, but I had a fam group out there 2 years ago when this first opened. They got a couple of them got to experience that and shared their videos with me, and they really get the heart racing and pull some serious G's. Tahoe has a great amount of accommodation. Just to quickly finish up on just some of the stuff on where you can stay. You've got your casino hotels, your Hard Rock, your Mont Bleu, your Harveys, your Harrah's. Great, going to be really cost effective, and that's a nice thing with South Lake Tahoe. Also, because the hotels, you tend to find the lodging to be a little bit inexpensive in Tahoe. That's a lot of it is due to the casinos. You've got the Hotel Beckett. That's an old kind of motel that's been refurbed, and they've kind of made it kind of cool with their interiors, as is the Coachman, same thing. Again, both in town, really close, really central. So being here, the nice thing is you could walk around. You don't necessarily need a car staying here. Beach Retreat and Lodge, that's a nice beachfront property. It's more of a resort property too. That's a little bit further out of town. There is a free shuttle bus that runs in and around town as well that you can hop on, and that will take you up to Heavenly in the state line, or down to kind of the California Village area, which is where the Beach Retreat is. Lakeshore Lodge and Spa just down the road from that as well. Again, another lakefront property. And then our last three hotels are more for our luxury clientele. The Landing, built about 6 or 7 years ago, that sits, again, pretty much lakefront. You have to cross the street and then you're on the beach, but some beautiful rooms and really nice, good restaurants there as well. Zalanta is our newest kind of luxury property. Zalanta is 2, 3, and 4 bedroom residences, so good for families that want to stay. And again, it's located like right on the heart of, right by the state line. It's right opposite the Heavenly Village, which has got loads of restaurants and shops. And then lastly, the Edgewood at Tahoe. This is our really luxury 5-star property in Tahoe. Beautiful, has the golf course on site, and they run free shuttles, as does the Landing. They run free shuttles up to the lifts. They'll pick you up at night. And the rooms are just spectacular the way they kind of overlook. That's kind of everything in a nutshell. Kind of rush through it. We've probably got lots of questions. I might do a deeper dive one of these on Tahoe, because there's so much that we can talk about Tahoe. But Adam, do we have any more questions?
Yeah, it was just, there was one thing I wanted to add quickly about your conversation about planes. Reminded me about something that Yosemite have just launched, and it's available for about, it's in fact it's very expensive and only available sort of certain types of the year, but basically every so often they do sort of Cessna flights into Yosemite that are picking up data for geographical reasons and various type things, like a surveying flight. And actually they're offering, I think it's maximum of 4 passengers on a flight like that. So to actually fly through Yosemite on a Cessna is a really, really unique experience. I think they tend to run them in the autumn, but yeah, they're not really tourist attractions, but they are offering sort of 4 seats on them. But it is a really, really amazing experience. So if you do want any more information, do feel free to get in touch. In terms of questions, Michael has just asked about the town on the border with Nevada where you cross the street at 1 a.m. What's the name of it again?
Yeah, South Lake Tahoe.
It's just in South Lake. It's
South Lake Tahoe is the town, and it's Heavenly is the ski village. That's right there. That's where most of your lodging is as well. The yachts question as well. Just I saw Lydia mentioned about yachts. So yachts will run around the park on a restricted service in the winter. Tioga Pass. So the Tioga Pass basically takes you from almost like the San Francisco side across to the Las Vegas side of Yosemite National Park. The Tioga Pass goes up to about 10,000 feet. So in the winter months, that tends to that will completely get snowed in. So that tends to open usually around May time. So it should be opening soonish, and then that would then close depending on when the snow starts, but usually late October, early November. So that's the connection. So the yacht service from Mammoth will only run in the summer months. Just hopefully that clears that question up.
And then we got not a question, but just a bit of info from Tom. He said the Dawn Wall is another epic climbing movie in Yosemite. So make sure you get. And again, these are hopefully really good things for you to go out to clients to sort of send them out and try and engage them and sort of encourage inquiries really.
Yeah. Any other questions? If you think of anything later, feel free to drop us a note. I'll follow up with everyone after, just with the link to where all these training decks are as well, that you can go in and check out. But yeah, I think that kind of covers us. We're going to have some more of these in the next coming weeks. I'll be doing another one next week, which we're going to cover all of Southern California. So we're going to talk Palm Springs, we're going to talk Orange County, LA. So if you want to jump on, learn a bit about Southern California, SoCal with me, I'll be doing that next week. And we will also have, we'll be doing a Northern California one the week after that. I've just seen Tom has asked me my favorite California brewery, and that is actually Mammoth Brewing is my favorite. if anyone's ever, I don't know if anyone here has been on a fam trip to Mammoth with me, but if you have, I probably would have taken you to Mammoth Brewing and made you do a tasting flight.
I think there's another one on there as well. What came through?
But yeah, Mammoth is, otherwise, if I was to pick a different one, probably Riptide Brewing in Huntington Beach is also pretty cool. It's like, feels a little bit like you're in a strip mall, like you're in but like really, really good beers. But yeah, hopefully we've got everyone. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Thursday afternoons. Kind of Friday, isn't it, for us? So enjoy your Friday, enjoy enjoy the bank holiday weekend. I am looking forward to chilling out tomorrow. It feels a bit weird being a Friday. But yeah, thanks for taking your time out to come listen to us. And any questions, hit us up. Happy to help. But otherwise, we will see you next time.
See you next week for Southern California and Pittsburgh. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.